Number three, something for you to work on is that continuous learning and growth mindset. And I don't mean just over the next 12 months. This is for, the rest of your career at least, but, going on for the rest of your life. Be curious. Personal and professional development are essential for building confidence. It's back to understanding your value. So if you have that weakness, you think that you need to provide more value, where can you develop your skill set better? And how can you develop your skill set better to be able to provide more value? Keep that growth mindset and be open to learning from everybody, from a diverse range of people. Seek out new opportunities to learn, invest in your education. It's one of the best things that you can invest in, and it's going to help you feel more prepared and capable to be a leader. It doesn't have to be leadership development that you're doing per se. It can be if you're running a team of experts, as we talked about before, learning a little bit about their field so that you can at least have conversations and not feel kind of completely like everything is going over your head. There are many ways to continue learning and growing as a leader. You can take courses, you can attend conferences, you can read books, you can join organizations, you can create networks and work with other leaders and talk to your colleagues to learn from them. You can also seek out mentors who can provide you guidance and support. Working with people with a diverse range of skills, knowledge, experience is such a great opportunity to continue to learn. Don't dismiss other people's points of views because of their age, their rank, or level of experience. Being open to opinions and ideas of everyone not only makes you a supportive leader, but there's also a lot to learn from working with others. There is so much to learn from people. Just because somebody's brand new to the team doesn't mean that they don't have a valuable insight into something. Sometimes those fresh eyes are really, really important and you can learn from them based on just having those conversations and being open to their opinions. You also need to seek out opportunities to step out of your comfort zone. Your comfort zone is called the comfort zone for a reason, and there is no growth or very limited growth in your comfort zone. So you need to step out of there to be able to continue to grow and to become, a more present, engaged leader, a more confident leader. Challenge yourself. Challenging yourself can help you develop these new skills, and it's going to boost your confidence because as soon as you tackle something that you didn't think that you could tackle, you're going to feel so much more confident when the next challenge arises. Number four, become an effective communicator. So you really need to communicate clearly with your team to build trust. Clear and concise communication is crucial for building relationships and inspiring trust. You've got to practice active listening, speak with confidence, think about body language. Effective communication can really help you convey your message effectively and build credibility, but also build those relationships with the people in your team. We all know what active listening is: paying full attention, understanding their perspective, repeating things back to them, responding thoughtfully to what they've said, not interrupting, eye contact, body language, all of those sorts of things. Also going to build rapport, using active listening. Don't use jargon, be clear, be really concise in what you're saying. If you're using too much jargon or technical words, it's going to put people off and make people uncomfortable, particularly if you're not the expert and you're speaking to the experts and they start using a whole heap of acronyms that we use a lot of in the government, or any sort of jargon that other people might not understand. It puts people off and makes them really, really uncomfortable and confuse everybody. So use a strong, assertive tone, good posture, but don't also be concerned about saying you don't know an answer. People can tell when you're avoiding an answer or when you're making something up. You better just tell people, I'll get back to you on that, rather than stay silent or make something up or just look really uncomfortable when you're trying to rack your brain for an answer. It's not on the top of my head right now. How would I get back to you? I'll send that to you in an email when I have a better answer for you. You also need to pay really close attention to your body language because there is some really powerful messages that can be sent through your body language. As we said with active listening, maintain eye contact, smile, open gestures, avoid crossing your arms, slouching, putting your hands on your head and leaning back is a really bad one, as it signals arrogance. And if you're the leader, or you're in a room full of people and they feel, you've used jargon and technical terms, they're feeling a little bit like their head is underwater and they don't know what's going on. When you start pulling that body language, it makes people feel really uncomfortable and that you feel like you're better than them. So, just be mindful of your body language. That is a really comfortable one when you're thinking, but depending on the circumstances, just be really clear that you're not doing those sorts of things. Again, clear is kind, unclear is unkind. Brené Brown talks about this a lot. So when you're talking, be really clear, because if you're just kind of running around in circles and expecting people to just pick up, the bits and pieces that you're flying around, nobody's going to walk away feeling very confident that they understand what the outcomes are expected from that meeting. To me, communication is a compromise. When you are working with your team, everybody's going to have a different way of communicating. Same way as everybody has a different way of learning, or a different way of taking on different concepts. Communication is also different for every single person. So think of it more as a compromise rather than a set in stone. This is how I communicate. Be upfront with your team and say, this is my preferred communication style, but adjust where necessary so that everybody's comfortable with how people are communicating. In conversation, I get very waffly and I get very excitable and very emotional and very handsy, whereas written in text or email, I can get very short and sharp and, yep, great, do that. Because, I'm like, great, let's commit to action and go. And I've actually had to tell people that, don't apply tone to anything that I kind of write, because I am not implying tone. I am going, yep, move on to the next thing. Like, great, I'm happy for you to go do that. Let's move on to the next thing. I don't need to give you any more conversation. I'm quite confident that you know what you're doing. But that can actually put people off. Some people do like extra words in their email. So I do have to sometimes kind of add some of those in, even though that is not my preferred communication style. A specific example that I have on this is that I had a staff member once that told me that by me typing emails to them and saying, hey, these are all of the things that we talked about, or this is the task that I need you to do, this is the date, this is that I need it done by, this is, the things you need to consider, blah, 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 blah. They felt like I was micromanaging them. Now, I am not a micromanager. I'm like, here you go run it. But by writing all of these things down, it's for me to track, okay, when did I ask this person to get this to me by? Should it be here by now? I'll just go check my emails rather than go to them and be like, hey, where's that thing that I asked you for? And then go, I've got another week on that. And then them get very, very, very stressed. So we sat down, we had a conversation about why I like to do that, and that it's not me trying to micromanage, it's me managing my own thoughts and, things that I may forget that we've discussed, or deadlines that we've set, so that I know that I've got a place to track it all. Together we come up with a better way of doing it for them, which was that all the notes that I took went into the original meeting invite that we had set for that discussion, which meant that we both had a point of reference that we still could go back to, but there wasn't flooding their inbox with me kind of going, hey, and do this and do this and do this. If there wasn't a meeting invite, it was just a side conversation, I just put it in the calendar, like, hey, we talked about this on this date. So that, we both kind of had that point of reference, but it wasn't an email and it felt less managing to that person. This gave us a really great opportunity as well to talk about boundaries and expectations and how communication in general was going to work between the two of us. So it was a really great outcome. Lastly, it's really important to maintain your confidence in any place is to embrace the failure. Failure is an opportunity to learn. Failure is inevitable and is an opportunity to learn. I have forgotten to put my microphone on for this. It's not a failure. It's just a reminder that I need to do something better and have a better process to get this video rolling. So, I'm going to keep rolling with it because there's no point in me saying all of this all over again. But, please forgive any of the potential echo that's on this video, but I'm embracing the failure right now. So it's a natural part of the learning process. Don't fear it. It's just going to be an opportunity for you to develop and grow. Learn from the mistakes, analyze what went wrong, use that knowledge to improve future decisions, actions, etc. Every setback is a chance to become stronger and more resilient. We could talk about light bulbs and 999 light bulbs just to create one light bulb. But there are so many examples of failure turning into success. So when it comes to failure, though, you need to be accountable, but don't pass that blame onto yourself and don't blame others. Don't be throwing anybody else under the bus. Just analyze the situation and learn and grow from there. And do it as a team as well. If it's a team failure or if it's one individual person that kind of has done something that hasn't been accurate or that didn't work out the way that everyone thought it was going to work out, don't kind of pinpoint down on that person. Okay, how are we going to learn from this and how are we going to stop this from happening again? Is there a process we need to put in place? Do we need to do something differently? Is this just we gave it a shot, it didn't work out? What's action B? What's the next thing that we can do to try and achieve this outcome? Again, seek feedback, get other people's perspectives, depending on how many people were involved. As I said, involve the team, do a bit of a review, but again, make sure that your steps and your actions are tangible. Don't just get feedback like, well, that wasn't great. It is that feedback. Thanks, champion. So one thing to be mindful of when it comes to failure is you need to manage this really carefully if you are working in a toxic environment. So some workplaces are not open to failure at all. Government is usually one of them, although we seem to fail a lot. You may not have the influence to change organizational culture, but you can support the team within that space and make sure that anything that happens there is not kind of going to come down too hard on them when it comes to the way that external people are taking on the failure. Make sure you have like a positive, proactive response to the failure. Show by example that failure is not a bad thing. And the more you support your team through that, regardless of how toxic the culture is on outside the team, the better you're going to come across as a leader and the more confident you're going to come across as a leader. Okay. It's not a reflection on your worth as a leader, on your work as an employee. It is not a reflection on any of those things. It is just a learning experience. Okay. Yes. Could we have done better? Yes. Are we going to do better next time? We are definitely going to do things differently. Just use it to grow, to become more confident and more resilient. So building confidence is going to happen overnight. It's not something that you're going to go, right, I've read this, I've listened to this amazing thing, or I've read the blog that I've done on it, and done. I'm a more confident leader. You need to keep working on it. It's going to take time. It's going to take effort. Be patient with yourself. Celebrate progress along the way. Be like, yeah, I never thought I'd be able to, attempt that thing, or I never thought I'd step into that opportunity, and you have, and it's amazing. Well done, you. Let's just have a glass of bubbles at the end of the week. Pick one area to focus on initially. Like, don't try and do everything all at once. Again, you will become overwhelmed. One area, so maybe it's the self-awareness. Do a lot of self-reflection. If something goes wrong, do the self-reflection. Don't worry about involving other people. Just keep doing that self-reflection as the first thing so that you can continue to understand where your weaknesses and strengths are, what your value is that you're bringing. Because you know what, you may be sitting around a table one day and you might go, I can actually provide input to this, or this has got, this is this person's wheelhouse. I've got a little bit of perspective that I can kind of provide, but I'm just going to leverage their expertise and guide them on how best to manage this situation. Be generous with yourself. Keep working on it. Keep just improving every day. You can develop confidence you need to succeed as a leader, just by following these steps, or trying a couple of other. There is no right or wrong way to do this, but you are a confident leader. You just need to understand the value that you're bringing to any given situation, and you will be amazing.